Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44. So I'm just laying in bed, bored, and I kind of want to talk about what I think the Lakers should do next year in terms of the approach for the roster. It's been reported that LeBron James is going to be turning his number back to 6 from 23 to 6. It was a plan for him to turn his number to 23 and give AD number. I think he wanted 23 initially. I think that's how that went. Uh, because of rules, contractual stuff, they weren't able to pull that off in time. But since then, LeBron James decided this is the year to do it. So he's going back to 6. I don't think there's any plans for AD to turn his number to 23. I think he's sticking with 3. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Last time we saw number 6, he was in Miami and he was wreaking havoc on the league. So maybe he can rekindle some of that. But we got to surround him with the right stuff. I wonder if the Lakers are going to try to take a traditional approach because we are cash strapped, obviously. So what we can do is kind of limited by what the field will be. So we'll have to look at who's going to be free agents and all of that. And I've yet to take a look at the free agency pool. Certain things are going to kind of change. We're obviously going to see some guys who are going to want out, even though they're contractually obligated at this time. Um, Maybe some of those names will be bigger than others, so don't be surprised. But I think the direction of the video that I'd like to take is more so just like the archetype of the type of players to put around AD and LeBron James. If those players are available, great. If they're not, um, so be it. But you know, I do understand that we do not have a whole lot of cap, and there may not be a whole lot of um, talent available in the free agency pool this year. Just don't know. So I think when you're looking at AD and LeBron James, the first thing that I'm very, very aware of, excuse me, yawning. The first thing that I'm very, very aware of is that AD does not want to play the center position. And the way the teams have been constructed that we've had, the best version of those teams have him playing the center position. So what we want to do is try to find a creative way to where that is not the case. Um, so I think that's the way you want to go. For me, I think that the 3 point line is very important from your center. You want a center who's not afraid of contact, but you also want a guy who's not going to clog the paint, who's not going to clog the areas that AD likes to occupy, and someone who's not going to be a lot of liability from the 3 point line. So I'm looking at a player of that kind of mold. You want somebody who's smart, someone who's smart enough to know to stay out of the way, and somebody who's strong enough to match up with some of the guys that AD doesn't want to match up with. And if they can stretch the floor, that is absolutely essential. So that's what I'm looking for. That's the first piece I think I want to see the Lakers do. The second thing I want to see us address is making sure that LeBron James is not the only facilitator. We must have someone else who specializes in passing the rock. We need somebody who can come in, probably somebody a traditional point guard, somebody who thinks pass first but isn't afraid to score, and somebody who can defend uh, very well. We don't want somebody who can't defend down there, but we definitely want somebody who fits those molds. Um, if they can shoot, that would be ideal as well. We kind of don't want to go the non-shooting route. So if we have to forego maybe some defense so that we can have a facilitating shooting combo point guard, I think that would be a very good thing. Um, Somebody who isn't afraid to get assists, but definitely can get their own shot, create for themselves. Someone who could dribble, penetrate, do some of the things that Schroeder did, but is much more heady, passing the rock. So that's the type of player that I think the Lakers need to be looking for. It would help if they could play defense very well. It would definitely help. Next thing I'm looking for is more shooting. When you're surrounding LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you want players that LeBron James can get the ball to, that he could create for, and that are automatic. KCP, um, you know, guys like Danny Green, guys like who else comes to mind that we've used? Uh, Ben McLemore. These are players who have looked good playing with LeBron James because what he does is put them in positions to just get their ball, catch and shoot. So you kind of want to find players like that going forward. You definitely want to put enough of those players around Now, unfortunately, a lot of times when you do find those players, you have to forego some ball movement. Usually, players who are specialized in those things do not specialize in areas of creativity. So the next look is probably making sure that your two guard spot is somebody who can kind of ignite the crowd, jumping. Someone who can shoot the ball, but someone who can kind of leap a little bit. Someone who can dunk, dribble, penetrate, good ball handler. Somebody who is definitely going to be take on the challenges of playing defense and can hit open shots. Preferably somebody who can create for others as well. So a shooting guard position is very important. I'm looking at a guy of the DeMar DeRozan mold. I would like somebody like that at the shooting guard spot. Played with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Someone who could do those type of things. So that's where my head is there. I also want to see the Lakers try to go after somebody at the 4 spot to back up Anthony Davis so that we're not so Anthony Davis reliant. A Christian Wood type of guy. Obviously, you can't get Christian Wood himself. He's a star, but someone who can do for themselves and kind of be a young player that can come in and do kind of what we were hoping Kuzma would be. Kind of just come in and just be this backup 4, stretch the floor, create, here and there if necessary. Someone who's not going to be a ball stopper is basically what I'm saying. Someone who has some rebounding skills. Definitely somebody who doesn't mind banging with people and things of that nature. Somebody who's not slow at all. We definitely want foot speed. We definitely want positionless type of players at that 4 spot. Someone who can come in for LeBron James and not be a liability. I also want to see the Lakers go after some vets. I think that next year the direction we need to have is a balance between youth and veterans. Again, you don't want LeBron James to be surrounded with too many kids to where he can't relate to them and he's getting annoyed by him and they're not meeting the intensity necessary. You want that balance and experience. So making sure that you have that is essential. Shooting, experience, an extra facilitator, someone who can ignite a crowd and jump out of the gym at the 2 guard spot, somebody who can shoot the ball everywhere at every position is key. I really want to see us focus on shooting this year. I want to see us get the shooting that we have not had. I love the idea that we still value size. It's a tradition for us to continue to look for big men, but not to the detriment of the style of play from which we need to compete with. And that's what we did this year. We put a little too much emphasis on size, but it wasn't good size. It was just tall people. Andre Drummond wasn't a helpful tall person. You know what I mean? Trez, we like him, but he wasn't someone that we could use in this era the way that we wanted to. And we ended up using Marc Gasol, the weakest center that we had, most of the time, just because he fit the mold of what it is that we needed to use, and it did not work. You got guys at that center position who just simply need to have bigger roles, and as a result, they're on your team and people that you need are not. So it's like we need to address that and have more of a vision for what this team is, and not just kind of just putting together pieces as they come to us. It's nice getting guys at a discount. It's nice getting guys out of spite like we did Trez, but the reality is it just wasn't a good fit, and those guys should have been traded at the trade deadline. Obviously, Drummond wasn't here. He shouldn't have been picked up in the first place. That was money should have been used for some shooting. And that's really what I've learned here, We can value size, but only to a point, You need shooting. And with Utah ain't going away. Phoenix ain't going away. The Nets will obviously be there next year. There will be more teams popping up. We have got to continue to value the lay of the land. And the lay of the land is still shooting at this point. But do value size. Do value size. Do not underestimate the importance of getting a big man next to Anthony Davis. We understand that LeBron James is now 36 years of age. He will be 37 next time we see him on the basketball floor. Or heading into his 37th year, rather. It is so very important that we are not too reliant upon him and Anthony Davis to carry us home. I'm sorry. As much as I trust those two players, Anthony Davis is injury prone, and LeBron James is older now, and he's now faced some injuries of his own. So at this point, we need to make sure that there's a guy down there that we trust that can take things upon himself and get it done. He doesn't have to be a superstar. He could have been a guy who used to be a superstar, maybe exiting that era of his life. But we definitely need somebody out there who can do that, because we are too reliant upon those two players. This year we had talent and we were deep, but at the end of the day, it wasn't good deep. It was useless deep, useless depth rather, and that's not the way to go this year. Not if we want to continue to stay in the NBA championship hunt. It's just gotta kind of conform to how the league is going, and it's shooting, and it's definitely having a big man that you can trust. So that's what I see out there. That's what I hope to see out there. Now it's a matter of us being able to do that. Can we get that? I know that the Lakers, we kind of have our eyes set on bringing in a superstar to add to this, because we got to keep up with the Nets. So if you can get a Dame Lillard, if you can get a Steph Curry, you give away whatever you have to do. You give away whatever you have to get those guys. That's where we're at right now. This is not an era where you have to value anything at all, not named Anthony Davis and LeBron James. There's no kids here that we believe in that we can't give up on. There's no sentimental value in terms of the players that are here. Everybody's here that's only been here for 5 minutes, and we can let them all go if it means getting somebody of that caliber. So, though I don't think that is realistic, I really don't. If that opportunity were to arrive, I expect us to pounce, and I don't think we should care too much about anything at all. Give away whoever you need to give away. Bring in that superstar guard, period. Like, literally, period. That's it. If that happens to be Bradley Beal, bring him in. If that happens to be Steph Curry, bring him in. If that's Dame Lillard, bring him in. Those are the three names that we're going to be looking at. And I think DeMar DeRozan's name is going to be out there. I don't have that type of intensity in terms of bringing DeMar in, but I would like to acquire him nevertheless. I think it would be a good time to get him. He's from LA. We could use what he brings to the table. I'm intrigued by him reinventing himself into somebody who facilitates. I think he could be that second facilitator that we need, that can help us, so that we don't have to keep chasing point guards that can't really do everything we need them to do. You bring in a guy like DeMar DeRozan, he kind of do what Blake Griffin's doing for the Nets right now, which is making sure the ball's continuing to pop despite not having James Harden out there. So I think that's a good way to go, continue to see the value in that. And as I've said once, and I'll say it again, I do think we should bring Rondo back to this organization. To what capacity, I do not know. But we missed his leadership this season. And that is something I know for a fact. So if we can go back and get him, I like the dynamic between him and LeBron James. Though they bounce things off of each other very, very well and play with one another very well. I just don't know if Rondo would be willing to come back here, so I don't know if that's realistic. I don't know how much longer he's going to want to play, but if it's possible we bring him back as a coach, even if he decides to retire, I think it's so important that he be a part of this organization. I really do. He was the missing piece. I think we'd still be playing right now if he was out there. I really, really believe that. So, yeah, what else? Is there anything else I can think of that I'd like to see this team do? Get the superstar if possible. If not, just build a team that fits Anthony Davis to where we're not so reliant upon him and LeBron James, that we have a center there so that he can continue to not have to play the center position, and that we're not reliant upon him to play the center position for us to look our best. That's very important. So if we can do all those things, and I don't know if we can, I think we'll be fine. So we'll see, man. Rob has his work cut out for him. But I'll tell you this, the way that team fizzled out, there shouldn't be too many players from last year coming back this year, man. It shouldn't be too many. I'm not going to lie. Some of those guys, they've been here for a while. This should be the it for them. You know, I expect some wheeling and dealing. I expect us to acquire picks in this draft, whether it be to trade them or to keep them. I expect us to get that value. And, yeah, go Lakers. That's what I got. My name's BDL44. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out.